Hello, Stephen White, or Trek Boy from Steve Arts 89. A little bit of Picard news. Not much. Um, it was supposed to have started filming, is how the rumours go, were that the show was supposed to start filming August 15 or 16, and they were having problems with the licensees and the merchandisers because they were revolting and saying, we cannot sell this, you need to change it. They wouldn't approve the designs and the costumes, everything, and it was all going to be stalled and on hold. And the show, there's no signs of the show actually going into production at this point, so it does appear, I think there's some talk that it's now going to start shooting in June. But again, these are rumours, which are all we really have at the moment. But it is kind of telling that it hasn't started shooting. If there were no problems, it would have started shooting. So that does suggest that some of these rumours might have some basis. Now, the rumours were basically what I just stated, that the licensees, the merchandisers will not get behind it, Netflix will not get behind it because the show doesn't look like Star Trek, and they know that the Discovery universe is not popular with Star Trek fans. It's not selling. They're not selling merchandise. So, and obviously merchandise is a huge part of the profit of shows like Star Trek, and the reason why people get behind it is because usually it is a license to print money. You have a Star Trek show, there's going to be starships and phasers and t-shirts and just the logo stuck on anything and everything. But Discovery, there's really nothing. The Eagle Moss stuff, they've continued doing, they've added the ships to their line, and there's a few small pieces here and there, but nothing really. They're not making the money they thought they were going to make. And the problem with Picard is it's also Patrick Stewart's wage. Apparently he is going to be paid so much per episode that it is so much more expensive, and it's such a bigger gamble. Now, originally it was being sold as the anti-Discovery. We're going to go into the future, we're going to go back to next gen, everything, but yet they neglected to mention but without the license to actually do anything next gen era. So it's basically Discoveryverse. And the other rumor, which is a really, really rumory rumor, is that, so much so I'm not actually letting it into my brain, into my consciousness, because I can't believe they would do it. Supposedly Picard is going to be the director of Section 31. So the man who famously spoke to Amphar or whatever about torture and prisoner, and how they deal with prisoners in war, so they could do a good job of chain of command in the depiction of torture in that, is apparently now going to be the head of the Section 31, which is not a part of Starfleet but is supposedly, thanks to Deep Space Nine, where they do covert operations, they develop technology that's illegal, they kidnap and torture and probably kill Federation citizens. And we're supposed to believe that Picard is going to be the person in charge of this. Now, whether this is just something the haters have started to try and turn people against the series, because there's two definite sides to this argument of Star Trek. One, the current Star Trek production issues. One is that there's a vocal small minority of people that hate the new show, and will just still say anything to get people to look, to get people to listen. And the other side is, of course, the people who are just paid by CBS, they're shills. They're just going to say it's great no matter what's better than any Star Trek before. It basically trumped the thing out. And I'm sort of in between trying to work out which is which, because I find it incredibly difficult. But a lot of the Midnight's Edge stuff, and Doomcock usually relies on them, a lot of these Fandom Menace people, Mecha Random, Essay Reviews, all these people, they're entertaining regardless of how much you want to question some of the things they say. But they seem to have some inside information, and some of the stuff they've talked about has been accurate, especially everything in regards to Star Trek 4 and that folding, and the problems with the Kelvinverse films and the JJ films. Everything they've said about that was pretty accurate. And since Star Trek Discovery is still in production and Picard hasn't been made, and Giorgio is nowhere near being made. There's no way to tell until after the fact how accurate they were. So it's really unfair to dismiss them now and say that they weren't accurate or whatever, because we don't really know. The smoke has not cleared yet on these failed productions, if they are failed, and if they do go in production, we're not going to find out about the genesis of their production, how they and all the problems until after the fact. Like with Enterprise, it was a decade till all the NDAs had cleared before people started talking about the problems with the production of that show and what UPN tried to make them do and all the problems that they had, which they never had in syndication. They never had those sort of problems before, and all that couldn't be talked about until well after the fact. So that was all very interesting, and there's a lot of it's such a long video to get into all that. So just at the moment, I just wanted to say that, and that's the rumor part. The news part is that Jonathan Frakes has revealed that he is going to be directing several episodes of Discovery Season 3 if it goes ahead, and Picard if it goes ahead. And since they are talking directors and talking to people, it does sound, so this is official, this is from StarTrek.com and TrekMovie.com, which are, StarTrek.com is the official Star Trek site and Trek Movie is the official Shield site, who, they get all the information because, I don't want to go into them and say anything that's going to get me in trouble. I don't have the best opinion of them from exchanges I've had with some of the, I'm not going to get into that. But I have looked at some of their stuff, and the most interesting thing about all that was Jonathan Frakes said that Picard will be 10 episodes, it will be a 10-part movie, at least season 1 will be, and there is some talk it will just be a mini-series, just one season, it will be limited, mostly because of the money side of things, how much it's going to cost and how much Patrick Stewart will cost, and also I don't think he wants to be tied to a TV series for years and years and years and years, so it won't be a long series, I don't think. But the other interesting thing is that they are filming the episodes and hiring the directors in 5 sets of 2. So it looks like for production money reasons, they're going to be filming 2 episodes at a time and do 5 lots of 2 episodes with the same director. So that would also seem to support the argument that money is a bigger concern on this series than it was on Discovery, because Patrick Stewart is costing a lot more than any of these other relative unknowns who are in the other series, or at least they just can't demand the kind of pay that Patrick Stewart does. So I'm just remembering Michelle Yeoh, what's his name? Isaacs hate him. They obviously are not cheap because they're stars, but they don't get paid as much as Patrick Stewart. They're not a consideration to the budget like he would be. So that would seem to support that side of things, that money that is a lot tighter, and that may also be because Discovery didn't do as well as they'd hoped, cost a lot more than they had hoped, and hasn't been bringing in the merchandise and all the other ways that they would get money back. So apparently the merchandisers, the licensees, the shareholders, they've all caught on to the fact Discovery hasn't clicked with the fans who actually buy merchandise, like me. I haven't bought anything except a badge. And that's because I buy all the badges, just like some people are just buying the ships because they buy all the ships. So it's just completionism, and that's it. No actual Star Trek fan support of merchandise on its own. It's more just people completing their collections and wanting the Discovery version of something to add. So I'm feeling like this is actually fairly accurate, and we're probably going to see the Picard series have the kind of problems that Discovery had that was delayed twice for months at a time for cast and also for production, because the showrunner left and was fired, and then they had to change everything, and it was a huge mess. It looks like Picard is being produced by the same people. It's going to have the similar problems. Now that's it with Star Trek. There's really nothing else happening that I know of. There's a couple other small things, just genre news I thought was interesting. The new Joker trailer which came out, which I loved, which I did a small video on, please dear God look at it. There are people now who are saying that, oh no, you are promoting toxic white masculinity, and this is going to make all the white men run out and become criminal masterminds and kill everyone. And I'm like, that's right, because we're just racist stereotypes that can't think for ourselves. So it's bizarre. There's always this lunatic fringe on either side that's going to engage, I guess, in every event in sci-fi or horror, or just it's bizarre. And in a similar way, when Endgame did a trailer and they had Captain Marvel, now these scenes were shot before the actual Captain Marvel movie, so she didn't have a full script, so she didn't really know her character, and she was trying to work it out. And they basically did the typical movie star glam look with her. She's got makeup, and she actually looks feminine, as opposed to the other film where they really had no makeup, no traditional girl makeup, and she did it pretty much straight. A lot of people are complaining that they slutted her up, that they made her a femme, they made her a girly girl, and it's like, these people are crazy. They will pick the weirdest things and just hate on it, and of course they blame the men, saying, oh, the director must have made her try and look more feminine for this film because of all the criticism before. No, they filmed this first, and she was in charge of her own look. They said, just do your thing, and that's what she did. And she's turned around and said later, yeah, it doesn't really go with the character, I was finding the character. But they don't listen to that. It was all the evil men who did this to her, so they won't be happy no matter what. So there's always this lunatic fringe on either side, and it makes it fascinating on one level, but it's really frustrating, especially if you're trying to work out what's actually happening. And Endgame as well, there are spoilers apparently, and I haven't looked into this because I don't want to see anything. Apparently, lots of alternate sequences have been filmed. A lot of actors have said they've filmed scenes and they don't know how they're going to live or die. And there's a little bit of leaked footage that someone has filmed on a cinema screen that's supposed to be the ending that's out there. And people are just trying to avoid it, and I'm going to try and avoid it too. But just be warned, it's kind of out there maybe. I haven't seen it. I can't say for sure it does exist, but it looks like it. I'm hearing that it does from other people. And I myself, I bought my tickets. I kind of feel like I know how the film's going to end. Captain Marvel's just going to come in last minute, one punch Thanos, say I'm a woman, I win, and that's kind of going to be how the film ends. I don't know why I need to watch the other 3 hours, but I've already bought my ticket, so I guess I will. But yeah, so I don't want to know. I just want to walk in and not have it be ruined. So watch out for the spoilers, and also keep an eye on both sides of the argument and both sides of the fandom, because it's interesting. Hopefully there's something in that for you guys. I'll try and keep anyone who's listening to me up to date as soon as I find out something, because I'm watching it too, with Picard and all these shows. Yeah, thanks. See ya, bye.